Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the final word for Friday's match in the Aviva Stadium, Ireland against Senegal. I'm joined by Paul. Paul, 1-all. Actually a pretty good result and performance. A bit of a different team. Heimir kind of experimented a little bit. A few new faces in there, particularly looking at Kasey McAteer, Jack Taylor performing in the midfield, Will Smallbone coming back in after a while. Your thoughts on the starting 11 and the performance that they played out, especially in the first half, really? I thought we were very good.
Yeah, just on the lineup, like I was surprised to see Jacob Ryan out of the team. I feel as though him and Nathan Collins have been our finished the season the strongest defensively. Although Darragh O'Shea's done very well, he obviously got relegated with Ipswich. I know he's been playing well himself, but I was just a bit shocked with Jake getting dropped. But look, I always say if a manager makes a decision and it pays off, then you have to give him credit. So in this scenario, obviously it did. Kasey McAteer, brilliant in terms of pressing, in terms of hassling, getting at the opposition. We'll come on to his goal as well, but I just thought he really kind of staked the claim for that right hand side spot going forward. I think we've kind of lacked that bit of pace. We've had trickery, we've said that before, with Mikey Johnson on the left and the right. But to have kind of out and out pace, and he done himself no harm in terms of getting a move maybe in the summer with that performance. It's just one performance, but maybe if he does well against Luxembourg as well, you never know, he could end up getting a move to a Premier League side off the back of it. He got his first Premier League goal towards the back end of the season, and then he got his first international goal. And it's good. I think it's good that players are getting off the mark early with their goals. But in terms of the lineup itself, I mean, Jack Taylor was playing almost like a number 10. Ryan Manning was playing almost like a 10 as well. It was a bit odd. I'm not gonna lie. It was a bit. I think everybody in the press box were trying to come to terms with what way we were setting up, but I don't mind that. When I looked at like Jason Knight starts, makes sense. Will Smallbone makes sense. I would have thought Jack Taylor and Will Smallbone would have been in different positions, but hey ho, that's the way it was. What did you think of it?
Yeah, so I think we spoke about it in the preview of this game that we were expecting kind of our strongest 11 really to play against Senegal. We didn't put out our strongest 11. To be fair, they didn't either. But I think the lads who did come in and played really, showed out well and gave like a hammer decision going forward. You talked about Kasey McAteer. I think we've been critical of him in the past for his performances for Ireland. Only a couple of cameos. This was his first start, but I have to say I was very impressed by him. I was kind of underwhelmed by the lineup. I was hoping for, as we said, our strongest 11, and I didn't think that was that. But I thought the lads put out a really good account of themselves. Kasey McAteer, like you said, it just gives Heimir another choice on that right side. Chidozie Ogbeny's been injured for a long time now after, a serious injury at the start of this season. Festy Ebiseli's only coming back from injury. So right wing could be one of those positions, like right back, like centre back, like striker, like even goalkeeper, that we have like this good problem to have. Right wingers in abundance, really. Kasey McAteer, I would be surprised, however, if he did get a move. I think he did come on strong towards the back end of the season with Leicester getting a lot more game time than he had throughout the year. Having said that, disappointing year for Leicester and kind of probably an underwhelming year for him. I would imagine he'd just stick with Leicester, one of the big boys, I'd imagine, in the Championship next year, and hopefully just kind of kick on from there. Maybe afterwards in the long term, maybe looking to move them. But the other lads who came in, Will Smallbone, Jason Knight, Jack Taylor, me having, watched Ipswich a little bit more than most, with me dad being an Ipswich fan, I kind of know that Jack Taylor, in the times that he does come on, he rarely starts, but when he does come on, it's kind of in that attacking role. He kind of comes on in a sort of, to go and grab them a goal if they're one down or whatever, which they often are. So he is deployed in that role quite often. Will Smallbone, the first time we've seen him in a while, I thought did quite well. I think it was a classic kind of Will Smallbone performance, tidy on the ball. I kind of said it in my prediction that no matter what kind of lineup we put out, I think there is enough quality in this side to maintain a bit of possession against Senegal when we do get our foot in it. And I thought we did that. And I think, especially in the first half, we caused them some serious problems going forward.
Yeah, Smallbone had a good chance before the actual goal. He had a good chance on the edge of the box, and we were looking threatening. I think Adam Idah is probably the only player who probably didn't live up to expectation in the first half. He was isolated a lot of the time. He was getting long balls against two big solid centre backs. So you're not going to expect him to do much in that regard. Ryan Manning, how do you feel about that one? Because it's just like he obviously likes Manning. He's played him in the Bulgaria game. He played him up, further up than Brady and stuff like that. He does seem to like him.
Yeah, I forgot to come on to him actually. He played left wing against Bulgaria with Robbie Brady playing left back. Similar sort of role on Friday. Interesting because we play kind of a completely different formation with the ball and without the ball. Kind of as sort of a left mid and a flat four in the midfield when we don't have it, as you said, with Jack Taylor kind of pressing up front with Adam Ida as sort of a two, and then he revolves into a sort of left wing role when we have the ball. And he was actually included in the squad announcement as a forward, which I think surprised a lot of people. Maybe that's just how Heimir sees him, and maybe that's a role that he could play at club level going forward. I'm not so sure.
He used to be a striker, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he's played his best football at left wing back, so it's kind of slightly confusing. Having said that, Mikey Johnston was fifth for the last camp, and he still kind of shifted him out to the right to accommodate Ryan Manning on the left. So interested by it. I thought he played okay. I didn't think he, stood out or anything. I thought he did as good as people could expect from him. Just moving on to the goal, he was involved in that as well, but it came from a corner from Will Smallbone. Cleared away by Senegal, hooked back into the box. Kasey McAteer gets the header, and to be fair, Senegal keeper makes a great save. But Kasey McAteer showing that forwards instinct and getting on it and finishing off the chance.
Great composure to not snatch at the original chance. So he takes the touch, then smashes it home. I thought he showed great composure there, and I thought I was surprised we took the lead. To be honest with you, I don't know it was because so many times we've had to go like we've conceded before anything else, but to see us go 1-0 up, and we had been kind of pressing. Normally what happens with us is we've been kind of pressing, we've been doing all right, we've been kind of getting in good positions, and then they score. That's generally what. So the fact that when you're playing a game and you can feel the momentum and you feel like a goal is coming, it was that case in this game. But I don't know why, but because it's Ireland, I didn't think that he would score. But I said it in the match reaction that it was almost Tim Cahill-esque in terms of the header, and then obviously that the finish as well was very like Cahill for Australia, Cahill for the others. But yeah, it was like that type of finish. If he can be one of these players who pops up with, if he finishes his career on 10, 11 goals, a lot of the time those like a Kilban or something like that, like those type of players were very crucial for us over the years in terms of grabbing a goal away from home in these big games. You think of Robbie Brady against Finland. If he can be one of those who just pops up with goals here and there, I think he could be a big player. You mentioned kind of stuff on the right hand side, players on the right hand side. There's no problem having competition because it's only going to drive the players and drive the standards. And I think Heimir is big on that as well. So I think he's given him a really good headache going forward. In terms of the goal, brilliant goal. And then I think everybody got a bit of a lift off the back of that. Thought we could have maybe. I didn't have any clear-cut chances after that I can remember, but we did look like the only team that we're going to score again after that up until halftime.
One thing I was kind of really impressed by, especially in the first half, was how assured we were on the ball. I think it started from the back line and spread throughout the team. I thought Nathan Collins, Darragh O'Shea, Caoimhin Kelleher even really like confident on the ball, playing out even though Senegal were pressing high. And I thought, really just confident on the ball. And you were wondering how that was going to go with the kind of rotated midfield, but I thought it worked really well. And, it's something that, look, I don't want to keep going back to kind of Stephen Kenny's era, but we're still in that phase, that early phase of Heimir's reign that that's all we have to compare it to. So I think, I don't know whether it's Heimir just giving them the freedom to be able to make the choices themselves out on the pitch, but I was really impressed by their confidence on the ball.
Well, not just that. I also like the way they were knocking the ball along at times in terms of Darragh O'Shea, a couple of times out to Kasey McAteer with some fabulous, diagonal balls. And I there's nothing wrong with a long ball with purpose. An aimless long ball, not so much, but a long ball with purpose when we players high up in the opposition's half, that's what we want to see. And I did think that we did that at times. Robbie Brady was pressing high on the left-hand side, and I think Ryan Manning maybe going inside was dragging that space out for Brady. Same on the other side, we had Kasey McAteer, and sometimes he was going inside, and that was allowing that Matt Doherty could get in that way as well. Matt Doherty had a bit of a an average game, but like people just have it in from. I don't think no matter how good he does, unless he scores a hat trick, I don't think people are going to give him any praise. I think he had a solid enough game. I'd still keep him at right wing back. I see no reason to take him out. as long as he's still performing in the Premier League as well, of course. But in terms of how we played on the ball and we just looked like a good football team. We look like a lot of other international teams that they're all trying to play like this. We finally look like we're at that level. Our players are up to the standard, and it also helps as well, as I've mentioned, when they're playing regularly for their club and they're performing for their club, so they're full of confidence as well. So that negativity maybe from the crowd sometimes if you're playing around and then you lose the ball and it's and you hear those groans, that definitely seeps into the players. But that seems to have gone now. Look, at the same time, the Aviva wasn't packed out like it normally is, in fairness. People are looking at this. I think the timing of the friendly wasn't good as well in terms of people being away and stuff like that as well, and the prices of them. But that's a story for a different day. In terms of how the players have played, very good. Half-time thoughts, 1-0.
Yeah, well, we said it, like, really assured on the ball, but like you said, the kind of license to be able to hit a diag if possible. Look, first things first, you need the centre backs or the defenders to be able to do that, and I think we do have that in Darragh O'Shea and Nathan Collins, even Robbie Brady and Matt Doherty. And yeah, I was really impressed by that as well. Darragh O'Shea and Nathan Collins, I think, playing some really nice long balls as well over the top for our wingers. Look, you even see it in Man City. Pep Guardiola gives Ederson or Guardiola or something the license to ping a ball over the top when necessary.
Van Dijk does it all.
Yeah, and look, we're not Man City or Liverpool yet, but I think you can definitely see the kind of steps in place to get into a better side, a better level. We don't have that rigidness that I thought we had in the past, maybe with Kenny. And I think we looked really good against a very solid team. I know some people will say, Senegal put out their B team, but we kind of did in areas as well. Like, it wasn't our strongest team in any sense. And I thought we really impressed. So going in, we were 1-0 up at half time. Coming into the second half, like you said, we didn't have too many clear-cut opportunities, but Will Smallbone did have a chance in the second half where he kind of went through, opened up for him, and it came
squared it.
Yeah, well, he had it on his left foot, and keeper makes a save off him. I thought he could have maybe set it out a bit further into the corner and put us 2 up, but look, it would have been a lot to add.
You should have given it. Was it Ryan Manning?
I think it was Ryan Manning, yeah.
And Ryan Manning actually would have missed.
Well, he got the rebound, and I think the keeper made another save.
Wide.
Yeah. But look, I thought we put in a really good account of ourselves. I think as the match went on, you did see the likes of Matt Doherty and Robbie Brady maybe start to tire as Senegal kind of.
Yeah, but just like this time of the season, you expect that. Like there was nothing to be critical about.
No.
In terms of there was no. You mentioned something off air about the other day about Nathan Collins and volleying something. I don't really remember that, but other than that, I don't recall any sort of obvious mistakes or. I felt we were going forward with purpose. We were trying to win the game. Obviously, chances were few and far between. I think if Smallbone gives that ball left onto Manning's left foot and he rifles it in the far right-hand corner, low and hard, I think that's 2-0. I think we win the game. Senegal made subs. We made subs around the hour mark as well. I think Evan Ferguson came on for Adam Ida. Jack Taylor came off for... who came on in midfield?
Killian Phillips ended up coming on for his debut.
Yeah, didn't do much but got stuck in.
Yeah.
I like his energy. I like the fact he's combative. Obviously, we'll come on to maybe his post-match interview afterwards. But yeah, so I thought Heimir made subs at the right time again, and I thought that gave us a little bit of a boost. But they brought on some good players that they probably should have started and showed their quality as well. And they were kind of coming on strong. We obviously know your mate Caoimhin there made an excellent save to fingertip onto the bar, because otherwise that was a great goal. Can't remember the player who headed it for them. I think it was Turkey. But anyway, he made a great save, and that was towards the end of the game. I thought that was going to be the match winning save. But yeah, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'll come out. That one Nathan Collins moment, I think it was like literally the first kick of the second half. He kind of received the ball from kickoff, and there was no options to him, so he kind of seemed to panic and like flick it over to Darragh O'Shea, kind of stitched him up a little bit. Literally, I don't think there's any other criticism apart from that, because I thought that everybody on the back line was very good on the ball throughout the game, so it was just kind of nitpicking really. Kelleher, absolutely phenomenal, world-class save. I thought I was really impressed by it. The FAI put up like a slow-mo video of it on Instagram, and it was just like a perfect kind of example for any young goalkeepers, like it's not just a kind of point blank amazing save. The technique of it was unbelievable. You see the way he plants his right foot and then just takes off. And I know he's kind of like, this tall, pale, lanky lad from Ireland, from Cork or whatever, but the athleticism to do that is just absolutely world class. And I thought
so like me, for example, I'm playing goal, you playing goal.
Yeah.
So for the average viewer, they wouldn't understand that insight. So that's good to know.
But it's also like I can imagine his Liverpool goalkeeper coach or whatever is sitting at home watching that, and he'll just want to
Brentford now.
Yeah, well, Brentford now, but his Liverpool coach from before, who work with him every day, is probably wanting to frame that and just stick it up in his wall, because it's just unbelievable technique. And I thought a world class save, and like you said, unfortunately wasn't the match winning save. But we move on to the Senegal goal. I will say I predicted 1-1 in this Ismaila Sarr goal. He came off the bench and unfortunately equalised for Senegal. I think if you had offered us a 1-1 draw going into this game, it would have been a really impressive result.
You wanted that?
Yeah, and just the way the match went, it just kind of, we thought we could have got more out of it. But all in all, I think I'm pretty impressed by that game.
Yeah, I think a second goal would have been nice. Maybe to win 2-1 would have been nice. But look, I predicted that we were going to lose. But then again, they didn't really play their full strength team. But it's an end of the season friendly. I'm not bothered. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a loss. It's momentum building again. Morale building coming into September. We're obviously going to be doing a preview on the Luxembourg game after this, but I just think these kind of runs of games going unbeaten against teams is only going to be good for the team. But I've said it as well, as like there's an expectation of a lot of players now, because they're at clubs that have to win. Look at Celtic, Adamida, he's at a club where he has to win. I'm sure he brings that into international camp. Troy, I'd say, is the same. Jason Knight, captain of Bristol City. Darragh O'Shea, captain of Ipswich, or he fills in a captain at different occasions. Nathan Collins, captain of Ireland. I'm sure he's like a leader at Brentford. I don't think he's the captain though. We've so many players that are captains of their clubs. Like, we've so many leaders, and I think that's starting to show now that our play, like obviously Seamus when he's around as well. I think Jake O'Brien will be a future Ireland captain at some stage as well. Same at Everton as well, if he's still there. So we've got like players and leaders, and I imagine their standards are high, and we're starting to see that now. We're starting to see players playing at their clubs, and that's all we've really wanted. Players playing at a decent level and bringing it in the form into. And Heimir deserves credit because he's picking players on form as well, which Kenny didn't really do. I felt at times he was picking his favourites in different times. Whereas like Heimir comes in, and we've spoken about before, like Bulgaria, he played a team to suit Troy Parrott, and this occasion they probably think he played a team to suit Adamida, and get players around him and bodies around him and stuff like that. So I have to say hats off to him. I've been really impressed by him in his reign so far, and I think people are just dying for a stick to beat him with, no matter what he does. I think that's just an Irish thing, but he doesn't seem to be bothered. And for me, I just hope now we get another result against Luxembourg, and we take that positivity into September.
Yeah, and I think like by now he probably has a decent idea of what his starting 11 in a proper game would be, and he can use these kind of friendlies to kind of build that squad out around it. The likes of Kasey McAteer and Jack Taylor, Will Smallbone, giving them options in those areas. Festia Basile, this is what you can't just have 11 players. You need a full squad, and I think he actually did touch on this in his pre-match press conference. He spoke about that. I just wanted to talk about a bit more about the subs. Killian Phillips, like you said, didn't get too much involvement in the game, but I thought he was all energy, and I think we caught them on the counter-attack once in the second half, and he picked up the ball in our half and really drove it forward well. I think that's where he's best, when he picks up the ball and able to really progress it. Just on the other subs, we had Evan Ferguson, Andrew Moran, Festia Basile, obviously Killian Phillips, and Jake O'Brien, I believe, came on.
Literally what I was checking for you.
Yeah, so anything else I thought Evan Ferguson was pretty sharp when he came on. Didn't really get any chances, but I thought he looked okay.
Yes, two things. I liked what Heimir did. He tried to win the game.
Yeah.
He went with two up front, kept Adamida on, and he tried to win the game. Ultimately didn't. The flip side of that, Adamida starting to scrap with Ndai and Cherky. I think that's how you say his name. And I thought that was good in that moment, just to start a little row, just to see how like they're big boys, them Senegalese. But I think now our team are starting to grow into men, and you can see that they're not afraid of anyone anymore. And you could see that they were all in for each other. You could see Jake O'Brien in. You could see Killian Phillips. He mentioned it in his post-match interview as well. And I know we're coming on to that at the end there. And then Ida was getting stuck in, and I just thought it was good to have that little bit of bite. I think we've been lacking that for a long time. We've been too nice, too passive, and to see us now start to kind of have a team where, you know, they're not afraid to get stuck in, because that's what we were always built on. We were hardy bastards in the past, where we would, you know, when we had Roy Keane, all these sort of players, Graham Kavanagh, Lee Carsley, all these sort of midfielders now who would love to get in the mix, get like hard tackles in. But I think we've been a bit too passive in the past. It's nice to see our players back with a little bit of bite now. I hope that makes us horrible to play against, and I want to see us being horrible to play against, stuff like that. As I said, we've been a bit too passive in the past, so I love that.
Yeah, and it came after the free kick was given right at the end of the game on the edge of our box, essentially almost a penalty, how close it was, and it was literally the last kick of the game where that kind of scrap broke out. It wasn't much of a scrap, it was kind of just a shoving match, but everybody was involved. And like you said, it was great to see the kind of togetherness, and you do get that feeling around this group now. You spoke about players from the past, even Martin O'Neill's era. You had that kind of
Glenn Whelan,
core of players who, like,
Richie Dunn,
all knew each other and would all back each other up in any scenario. So, and it was nice to hear Killian Phillips talk about that. I know you want to touch a little bit about his press conference after the match, because he's really an endearing character, and we know that from his kind of press conferences from the under-21s. But seems like a really good kind of teammate and just player to have around.
Yeah, not press conference, it was an interview. With Tony O'Donoghue, not Troy Parrott. He did an interview with Tony O'Donoghue after the game, and he spoke kind of about what it meant to him and not being a one-cap wonder, and, you know, showing the togetherness of not being afraid to have a little scrap. So I like that. I like that about him. I think he could be a big player for us. I think we're lacking that bit of physicality in the middle sometimes, and energy that can get around the pitch. Alongside Malumbi, like, he's kind of similar in that mould of energetic, but maybe a bit small. Again, it's no harm having players who can step in and do well. I don't know if he's signed permanently for St. Mirren, or has he gone on loan again from Palace.
I think he might be gone permanent now. Okay,
because Tony had said to him on the thing about Crystal Palace, but anyway, he might have got that one wrong. But it'd be interesting to see how he does now. Jamie McGrath obviously was at St. Mirren and was getting in as an Ireland regular. I know Stephen Kenny knew him anyway, but there's just a lot more options now. Andrew Moran didn't really do much coming on. Felt sorry for him a little bit. He was just kind of shoehorned out to the left-hand side, my favourite word. But yeah, I didn't think he did much when he came on. Jake O'Brien didn't do much when he came on either. Didn't have a whole lot to do. He went in at right back. But it's good to see these players showing his versatility as well. So look, all in all, 1-1, fair results, and I don't think there's too much to kind of drag on about it.
Yeah, so
final thoughts.
Obviously, kind of stay tuned for our preview of the Luxembourg game. But like you said, I think a really good showing from the players who came in against what was a really top opposition. I know it wasn't their first team. It wasn't our first team either, but their kind of level of squad is definitely at a higher level than ours. So I thought it was a really good performance to show against a team like that. Would you say there's any kind of takeaways to take from this, or would you be really drawing any conclusions? I know Eamon Dunphy kind of came out in the aftermath of the match saying that this team can, you know, qualify for the World Cup and more. I don't know if it'd be going like that far, being that confident, but I think the signs are there. Everything's positive at the moment.
Jesus, bite your hand off for the World Cup next year, to be honest with you. So look, it's just key how these games mean nothing right now. It's key how we come to September, so I ain't getting carried away just yet. I'll wait till we're halfway through the campaign to kind of analyse it then. I think that's the fairest way. Good result, good showing. Even with some players, you know, missing that Azaz and Parrott and kind of Cullen. So there's like three probably starters there that we're kind of missing as well.
Benny and Smodics even.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, if Smodics does well in the championship next year, you know, and we get back to those levels that he was at, he was looking so sharp there last year. So look, but how nice is it to be able to go, well, we have good players in the squad, but we're also missing good players, and we're not missing them too much. So I think that's Seamus Coleman out of the squad. I know, look, he hasn't played too much and stuff, but in terms of what he brings to the squad and stuff like that. But yeah, look, all in all, I'm very happy. Good job, Heimir. Good job by the team.
Absolutely. Good result. We're not getting too giddy. Make sure to stay tuned for our preview of the Luxembourg game and all the content after that match. But for now, take care.